I never thought I'd be living 200 feet in the air, but here I am, day 11 in this crane cabin, watching the city tear itself apart below me. The climb up here nearly killed me. That first night when everything went to hell, when the emergency broadcasts stopped making sense and started just screaming, I was finishing a double shift on the Patterson building site. The sun had already set, and I was doing final checks on the crane before heading down. That's when I heard it. Not one scream, but hundreds. A chorus of them rolling across the downtown core like a wave. I remember standing on the platform, my hand on the ladder, looking down at the street. The security lights illuminated the construction site in harsh white pools, and I could see them. People running, not jogging, not hurrying, sprinting like their lives depended on it. And behind them others, moving wrong, too fast and too jerky at the same time, like broken puppets being yanked on strings. Marcus, the night security guard, was the first one I saw get caught. He'd been making his rounds by the fence, and 3 of them came through the chain link like it was paper. He didn't even have time to pull his radio. They were on him in seconds, and the sounds. Christ, the sounds he made weren't human anymore by the end. I went back up. Didn't even think about it. My legs just carried me up the ladder, rung after rung, until I was back in the crane cabin, 230 feet above the street. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely close the door. That was 11 days ago. Feels like 11 years. The cabin is small, 12 feet long, maybe 5 feet wide. There's the operator's chair, which swivels and has enough padding that I can sleep in it if I wedge myself in right. The control panel takes up the entire front section, levers and switches and buttons I know by heart after 3 years operating this machine. 2 small windows on each side, 1 large windscreen in front. Every surface is either plastic, metal, or glass. Nothing soft except the chair. When I first barricaded myself in, I took inventory like I'd seen in movies. 1 thermos of coffee, long gone cold. Half a sandwich in my lunch bag, turkey and Swiss, already starting to smell off in the heat. A bottle of water, 3/4 full. My phone at 62% battery. A flashlight. My wallet. Keys to an apartment I'll probably never see again. A pack of gum. That was it. That was all I had to survive the end of the world. The first 3 days were the worst. I kept thinking someone would come. The military, the police, someone with a plan. I watched the streets fill up with them. The infected, the dead, whatever they are. They're not slow like in the old movies. They're fast when they need to be, but they also just wander. Like they're searching for something but can't remember what. There's a man down there, or what used to be a man, wearing a business suit. I've been watching him for days. He circles the same 3-block area over and over, following some route his dead brain remembers. Sometimes he stops at a corner like he's waiting for the light to change. Then he jerks forward, looks around, and keeps walking. His tie is still knotted. 1 shoe is missing. The water ran out on day 2. That's when I realized I was actually going to die up here unless I figured something out. Dehydration would get me in 3, maybe 4 days. I spent 6 hours just staring at the control panel, my tongue already feeling thick, trying to think of something, anything. Then it rained. I've never been so grateful for Vancouver weather in my life. The rain came in sheets, driven by wind that made the cabin sway on its track. I used my lunch bag as a funnel, held it out the side window that I could crack open a few inches. The bag held maybe a cup before it started to disintegrate. I drank it straight from the soggy paper, tasting pulp and ink and the best goddamn water I'd ever had. After that, I got smarter. I tore my shirt into strips and hung them out the window during rainstorms. When they were soaked, I'd wring them out into my mouth into the empty water bottle. It's not much, but it's enough. Barely. Food is harder. I rationed that half sandwich for 3 days, eating it in tiny pieces that I'd let dissolve on my tongue to make them last longer. By day 4, I was eating the gum, swallowing it instead of spitting it out because at least it was something in my stomach. Day 5, I found 3 peanuts at the bottom of my lunch bag, hiding in a corner seam. I cried over those peanuts. Actually sat here and cried, holding them in my palm like they were diamonds. The hunger is constant now. It's not the sharp pain you get when you miss lunch. It's a hollow ache that never goes away, a gnawing emptiness that makes it hard to think. My stomach stopped growling on day 7. Now, it just sits there, tight and empty, occasionally cramping hard enough to double me over. But I'm alive. That's more than I can say for most people down there. The city looks like a movie set for the apocalypse. Cars are abandoned everywhere, doors open, some still running until they ran out of gas. There was a pileup on the main intersection I can see from here. 7 cars smashed together with bodies draped over hoods and hanging out of windows. It took 4 days for the infected to stop trying to get to those bodies. They'd crowd around the wreckage, pulling at the corpses, fighting each other for pieces. Now they mostly ignore it. Picked clean. Fires burned for the first week. I could see them across the skyline, orange glows that would flare up and then slowly die down. Nobody left to put them out. The smoke was thick enough that some days I could barely see the ground. My eyes burned from it, and I had to keep the windows closed even though it got brutally hot in here. The heat is its own kind of torture. During the day, the cabin becomes an oven. The sun beats down on the metal frame and glass, and there's no escape from it. I strip down to my boxers by day 3, and even that feels like too much clothing. Sweat pours off me, wasting precious water I can't afford to lose. I try to stay still, to breathe slowly, to not move unless I have to. Sometimes I pass out from it, which is almost a blessing because at least I'm not conscious for a few hours. Nights are better. The temperature drops, and I can open the windows a crack to let air flow through. That's when I can think clearly again, when I can plan. That's when the fear really sets in too, without the distraction of heat exhaustion. The sounds at night are worse than what I see during the day. They echo up from the streets, screams that cut off suddenly, the crash of breaking glass, the shuffle and scrape of hundreds of feet on pavement. Sometimes there are survivors down there. I can hear them running, calling out for help, begging. Those sounds never last long. On day 6, I watched a group of people try to make it across the construction site. There were 8 of them, moving fast and quiet, armed with pipes and bats. They almost made it. They were maybe 20 feet from the fence on the far side when a wave of infected came around the building. Must have been 30 or 40 of them, drawn by the movement. The survivors tried to fight. I'll give them that. They stood their ground and swung their weapons, and for a minute I thought they might actually make it. But there were too many. The infected overwhelmed them through sheer numbers, pulling them down one by one. I watched it happen through the crane's front window, my hands gripping the controls like I could do something, anything to help. I couldn't. I can't. I'm stuck up here, safe and useless, watching people die. One of the group got away, a woman in a red jacket. She broke free from the fighting and ran, not toward the fence, but toward the crane. I could see her face as she got closer, white with terror, her mouth open in a scream I could hear even from up here. She started climbing the ladder. I don't know why I opened the side window and looked down. Maybe part of me thought I could help her, pull her up somehow. But she only made it about 30 feet before they caught her. 3 of them climbed after her, moving with that horrible jerky speed, and they pulled her off the ladder like plucking fruit from a tree. I closed the window and didn't look down for the rest of that day. I couldn't. Her red jacket is still down there, crumpled at the base of the crane among the others. I try not to look at it. The isolation is starting to get to me. I talk to myself now, full conversations. Sometimes I narrate what I'm doing like I'm making a video. Okay, so now I'm going to check the water situation. Looks like we got about 3 inches of rain last night. That's good. That's real good. It helps. Makes me feel less alone. I've started naming the infected I can see regularly. Business Suit Man is still down there, doing his circuit. There's Parking Lot Woman, who just stands in the same spot by a blue Honda, swaying slightly. She's been there for 6 days without moving more than a few feet. There's Runner, who's different from the others. Faster, more aggressive. He chases anything that moves through his territory, which covers about 2 blocks north of here. Runner scares me. Even up here, 200 feet away, watching him move makes my skin crawl. He's not decaying like some of the others. He looks almost alive until you see his eyes. Even from this distance, even with the binoculars I found in the cabin storage box on day 8, I can see those eyes are wrong, filmed over, white and dead. The binoculars were a game changer. They were in a small storage compartment under the control panel, along with a roll of electrical tape, a screwdriver, a crushed granola bar, which I ate immediately, wrapper and all practically, and a porn magazine from 2003. I looked at that magazine for about 30 seconds before I realized that sex is something from another lifetime, another world where people had the luxury of desire instead of just desperate survival. With the binoculars, I can see farther into the city. I can see other survivors sometimes, moving between buildings or watching from windows. There's someone in the office building 3 blocks east who comes to the window every morning around dawn. They hold up signs sometimes. The first one said, "Is anyone there?" I held up a piece of paper torn from the magazine with "Yes" written in eyeliner I found in the cabin's first aid kit. We communicated like that for 2 days. Their last sign said, "No food. Going to try for the store." That was 4 days ago. They haven't appeared in the window since. The window is dark now, and I don't look at that building anymore if I can help it. There's a family in a house to the south. I can see them in the upstairs window sometimes, 2 adults and what looks like a small child. They've boarded up everything but that one window, and they only open it for a few minutes each day, probably for air. I wonder how much food they have. I wonder how long they'll last. I wonder if they're looking at me through their own binoculars, wondering the same things. The radio in the crane stopped working on day 9. It had been giving me nothing but static since the second day anyway, but it was something. I'd scanned through the frequencies, hoping to hear a voice, an emergency broadcast, anything. Sometimes I thought I heard words in the static, but it was probably just my brain making patterns out of noise, the way you see faces in wallpaper. When it finally died, I actually felt relieved. The static had been driving me insane, a constant hiss that filled the cabin. Now there's just silence, broken only by the sounds from below and the creak of the crane in the wind. The wind is my biggest fear now. Every time it picks up, the cabin sways. Not much. This crane is built to handle wind, but enough that I feel it, enough that I imagine the bolts loosening, the cable fraying, the whole structure toppling over. I'd have maybe 3 seconds to realize I was falling before I hit the ground and became food for Business Suit Man and his friends. I've been doing exercises to keep from going completely weak. Push-ups against the control panel, squats in the tiny space between the chair and the door, holding plank positions until my arms shake. It's not much, and I'm definitely losing muscle mass. My clothes hang off me now, my belt tightened to the last notch, but it's something. It keeps me busy, keeps me from thinking too much. Thinking is dangerous up here. When I let my mind wander, it goes to dark places. I think about my sister in Toronto. I think about whether she made it, whether she's holed up somewhere like me, or if she's one of them now, wandering the streets with that horrible jerky gait. I think about my ex-girlfriend, Sarah, who I haven't talked to in 2 years, but who I'd give anything to see right now, just to have another living person to talk to. I think about food. That's the worst one. I dream about it when I manage to sleep. Huge meals, banquets, all-you-can-eat buffets. I wake up with my stomach cramping, saliva flooding my mouth, the taste of dream food evaporating as reality crashes back. I've started having elaborate fantasies about breaking into the grocery store I can see 6 blocks west. I plan the route, imagine every step, figure out how I'd carry supplies back. It's completely impossible. I'd never make it 20 feet on the ground. But the planning helps somehow. There's a vending machine in the construction site office, which is a single-story portable unit about 50 feet from the base of the crane. I can see it through the binoculars, see the colorful packaging of chips and candy bars behind the glass. I might as well be on the moon. The office is surrounded by infected. They seem drawn to buildings, clustering around doors and windows like they remember that's where people should be. But I keep thinking about it. 50 feet. Just 50 feet between me and more food than I've seen in over a week. Chips, cookies, chocolate bars, soda. My mouth waters just thinking about it, and I have to force my thoughts elsewhere before I do something stupid. On day 10, I tried fishing. I know how insane that sounds. Fishing from a crane cabin 200 feet in the air. But I was desperate, and I'd seen birds. Crows and seagulls mostly, circling the city in flocks, landing on buildings and streets to pick at bodies. They were food, protein, calories. I made a fishing line from strips of my jeans, braided together and tied to the electrical tape roll as a weight. For a hook, I bent the screwdriver into a curve and sharpened the end against the metal frame of the door. I baited it with a piece of the porn magazine, wadded up to look like, I don't know, something a bird might investigate. I spent 6 hours dangling that line out the window, jigging it up and down, trying to attract a crow. The birds ignored it completely. One landed on the crane arm above me and shit on the windshield, which felt personal. Eventually, I gave up and pulled the line back in. Paper bait was gone, blown away by wind or eaten by something I'll never know. I kept the fishing rig, though. It's hanging from the ceiling now, swaying slightly with the cabin's movement. Sometimes I stare at it and try to think of other uses. A weapon, maybe, if something somehow made it up here. A noose. If things get bad enough that I want to choose my own ending instead of starving slowly. I haven't reached that point yet. Some days I think about it, though. The hunger and thirst and isolation pile up, and I find myself thinking about how easy it would be. Quick, clean, better than wasting away up here or trying to climb down and getting torn apart. But then I see another survivor somewhere in the city, where the sun comes up and paints the sky orange and pink in a way that's almost beautiful despite everything, and I decide to last one more day, just one more. That's how I've been making it, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time when it gets really bad. The infected below are changing. I've noticed it over the past few days. Some of them are moving slower, their bodies breaking down from decay and damage. Others seem almost preserved, moving just as fast as they did at the beginning. I don't know if it's the cool night temperatures or something else, but the variation is stark. There's a group of fresh ones that appeared yesterday. They still have color in their skin, still wear clothes that aren't completely shredded. They move in a pack, 7 of them, led by what used to be a teenager in a basketball jersey. They're more coordinated than the older infected, like they still retain some pack hunting instinct. I watched them bring down a dog this morning, a German shepherd, thin and scared looking, trying to scavenge near an overturned dumpster. The pack surrounded it with frightening efficiency, cutting off every escape route. The dog fought. I heard it barking and snarling, but it didn't have a chance. They tore it apart in minutes. That dog had survived almost 2 weeks in this hellscape. It had made it through the initial outbreak, had managed to find food and water, had evaded the infected and the dangers of a collapsed city. And then, in seconds, it was gone. Just another body on the street. It made me realize how fragile my survival is. One mistake, one moment of bad luck, and I'm done. The crane won't save me forever. Eventually, I'll run out of ways to collect water. Eventually, the hunger will make me too weak to move. Eventually, something will give. I've been trying to think of long-term solutions, but they all require leaving the cabin, and leaving means death. The construction site has resources. There's a storage container full of supplies. There are other trailers with who knows what inside. There's that vending machine. But it's all unreachable, separated from me by 200 feet of vertical ladder and a ground level swarming with infected. Could I climb down at night? Maybe. The infected seem less active when it's dark, though they don't sleep. Could I move quietly enough? Unlikely. Every time I've tried to open the cabin door, even a crack, the hinges squeal, Sound carries at night, they'd hear me on the ladder and they can climb. The woman in the red jacket proved that. Could I somehow use the crane itself to reach another building? The arm extends out maybe 200 feet, and I can rotate it a full 360 degrees. There are buildings within range. The office building where the sign holder lived, a parking garage, a half-finished apartment complex. But I'd have to climb out onto the crane arm and somehow make it across to a window or roof. And I don't think I have the strength for that anymore. The hunger has weakened me too much. I get dizzy just standing up sometimes. I keep coming back to the storage container. It's on the far side of the construction site, bright orange, impossible to miss. I know what's in there because I helped stock it 3 months ago, back when 3 months felt like 3 months and not 3 lifetimes. Tools, safety equipment, spare parts for the crane, and food. The crew kept a stash of non-perishables in there. Canned soup, crackers, beef jerky, energy bars. Not a lot, but enough to keep me alive for weeks if I could get to it. The container has a padlock. I can see it from here with the binoculars hanging from the door handle. I remember the combination because it was my idea to use one instead of a key that could get lost. 735. My birthday, July 35th. No, that's not right. July 3rd, born in 85, 735. My head is fuzzy sometimes now. Hard to think straight. 50 feet from the crane base to the container. Maybe 30 infected between here and there that I can see. Probably more around the corners, out of sight. Could I make it? Could I run fast enough? No. Even if I could, which I can't, not in my current condition. What then? I'd be trapped in the container with no way back up. At least up here I have a chance. Down there, I'd last maybe a day before they broke through the container walls, or I died of thirst. But I keep thinking about it, planning it, imagining the taste of beef jerky, the salt and smoky flavor, the way it would feel to have something substantial in my stomach. It's a fantasy, like my ex-girlfriend or my sister being alive, but it keeps me occupied. The sun is setting now, day 11 sliding into night 11. The sky is doing that thing again, turning impossible shades of orange and red, silhouetting the buildings against the light. It's beautiful in a horrible way. The apocalypse shouldn't be beautiful, but here we are. I can see smoke rising from somewhere to the west, new fires or old ones rekindling. The infected down below are transitioning into night mode, their movement patterns changing slightly. They spread out more, wander more, like they're searching harder when they can't see as well. Business suit man just walked by underneath, right on schedule. He's nothing if not punctual. His routine hasn't varied since I started watching him. Same corners, same stops. Same confused pause when he reaches the intersection. Some part of his dead brain remembers commuting, remembers the route home from work. He'll never make it. He'll walk that circuit until his body falls apart, and then he'll probably just crawl it. A crow is roosting on the crane arm above me. I can hear it shifting around, claws scraping on metal. It's smart enough to stay up high where the infected can't reach. Probably smarter than most of the survivors down there. Definitely smarter than me, sitting in this metal box, slowly starving to death. My stomach cramps again, hard. I double over in the chair, breathing through it until it passes. These cramps are coming more frequently now. My body is starting to eat itself, breaking down muscle for fuel. I can feel it happening, feel myself getting weaker day by day. I should do more exercises, but I'm so tired. Tired and hungry and thirsty, even though it rained this morning. I sleep more now, probably because my body is shutting down non-essential functions to conserve energy. When I'm asleep, I don't feel the hunger as much. Don't feel the fear as much, but I can't sleep all the time. And when I'm awake, I have to stay alert. Have to watch for threats, watch for opportunities, watch for any change in the situation below that might give me a chance at survival. A scream echoes across the city, high and terrified, coming from somewhere to the north. It goes on for 5 seconds, 10, 15. Then, it cuts off like someone threw a switch. Silence rushes back in, filled by the shuffle of feet and the low moans the infected make sometimes. This awful sound that's almost questioning. like they're asking, "Where?" or "What?" over and over. I used to jump at every scream. Now I barely react. I've heard dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Each one is a person dying, a life ending in terror and agony, and I can't do anything but sit here and listen. The guilt of that should crush me, but mostly I just feel numb. Guilty that I'm not guilty enough. The darkness is complete now. No streetlights, no building lights, no cars with headlights. Just the moon, 3/4 full, casting silver light over the dead city. Shadows move in that light, infected wandering their territories, and I watch them like I'm watching a nature documentary. Predators in their habitat. Except I'm in their habitat too, just temporarily out of reach. Something crashes somewhere nearby. Glass breaking, loud enough that I flinch. The infected react too. Turning toward the sound, beginning to shamble in that direction. Within seconds, 20 or 30 of them have converged on the noise. I watch through the binoculars, but can't see what caused it. Maybe a survivor being stupid, maybe just a weakened structure finally collapsing. Either way, it's drawn every infected in a 2-block radius. Wait, the area around the storage container is almost clear. Just 3 infected that I can see, and they're facing away, distracted by the distant crash. Business suit man is gone, drawn away with the others. This is as good a chance as I'll ever get. No, that's insane. I'm too weak, too slow. I'd never make it down the ladder, let alone across the site and back. And even if I did, what then? I'd still be stuck down there, and once the distraction faded, the infected would come back. But the food, cans of soup, energy bars, beef jerky, water bottles, I'd forgotten about those. The crew kept a case of water in the container, room temperature and probably tasting like plastic, but water. Clean water that I wouldn't have to wring out of shirt strips. I'm standing now, my hand on the door handle. When did I stand up? I don't remember deciding to move. My legs are shaking, partly from weakness and partly from adrenaline that's suddenly dumping into my system. I could make it. 50 feet to the container, grab what I can carry, 50 feet back to the ladder, climb up. 5 minutes, maybe less if I move fast. The infected are distracted. This might be my only chance. No. Sit back down. Stay safe. Wait for rescue that might never come. But I'm gonna die up here anyway, slowly, painfully, alone. At least if I try, I'm doing something. At least I'd die trying to survive instead of just waiting for the end. My hand turns the door handle. The hinges squeal, horrifyingly loud in the quiet night. I freeze, waiting to see if any of the infected react. None of them turn. They're still focused on the crash site, shuffling away. The cool night air hits my face, and I realize how badly the cabin stinks. Sweat and fear and desperation concentrated in this small space for 11 days. The outside air smells like smoke and rot, but it's fresh compared to what I've been breathing. The ladder stretches down into darkness, metal rungs disappearing into shadow. 230 feet. I've climbed it hundreds of times, muscle memory so ingrained I could do it blind. But that was when I was healthy, when I'd eaten that day, when I wasn't weak from starvation. Can I really do this? The infected at the container site are still facing away, still distracted. In another minute, they might turn back. The opportunity is closing. I step out onto the platform, my hands gripping the safety rail. The metal is cold under my palms. The wind pushes at me, stronger out here than inside the cabin. The crane sways slightly, and my stomach lurches. One rung. Just commit to one rung. Then decide about the next one. My foot finds the first rung. My hands grip the ladder. I start climbing down, moving as quietly as I can, trying to ignore the squeal of my joints and the tremble in my muscles. The ground gets closer. 100 feet up, 50 feet, 25. I can see the infected clearly now without binoculars, see the details of their decay, the wrong way they move. The dried blood caked on their clothes and skin. Business suit man's missing shoe is actually just a foot worn down to bone, I realize. He's been walking on a skeletal foot this whole time, 15 feet up, 10. I pause, clinging to the ladder, scanning the ground. The 3 infected near the container are still looking away. The rest are 50 yards off, clustered around whatever made that crash. This is still doable. 5 feet. My feet touch the ground for the first time in 11 days, and the solidity of it is shocking. I'd gotten used to the constant slight sway of the crane. Standing on unmoving earth feels wrong. I move toward the container, trying to walk quickly but quietly. My legs feel strange, weak, and shaky. Every sound I make seems impossibly loud. My breathing, my footsteps, the rustle of my clothes. How did I ever think I could be quiet enough for this? 30 feet to the container, 20. One of the infected near the container shifts, and I freeze. It's an older one, decay advanced, barely humanoid anymore. It sways in place, head moving slowly back and forth like it's scanning, testing the air. Can they smell me? I hadn't thought of that. God, I'm an idiot. Of course they can probably smell me. I reek. But the infected doesn't turn. After a moment that feels like an hour, it shuffles a few feet away, still facing the wrong direction. 10 feet to the container. 5. I'm at the door now, reaching for the padlock with trembling hands. The combination. What was the combination? 735. No, wait. 537? No, that's not right either. My brain is foggy, thoughts sliding away like soap in water. The hunger has made me stupid. I know this combination. I picked this combination specifically because it was easy to remember. 7, my birthday month, July, 7, 3, the day, 3rd, 3, 5. No, 85. 85, the year I was born. 857385. I dial it in, my fingers clumsy on the lock. The shackle springs open, and I nearly sob with relief. The container door swings open with a creak that sounds like a gunshot in the quiet. All 3 of the nearby infected turn. They see me. I lunge into the container, grabbing the first thing I can reach, a box of granola bars. A case of water is near the door. I grab it, the plastic handle cutting into my weak grip. A can of soup. Another? I'm just snatching things now. No plan, no organization, stuffing granola bars into my pockets, trying to hold cans and water at the same time. The infected are coming, not running yet, but walking with purpose, zeroing in on me. 20 feet away, 15. I back out of the container, arms overloaded, dropping a can and not stopping to grab it. The ladder. I need to get to the ladder. 50 feet. Might as well be a mile. I run, or try to. My legs barely cooperate, and I'm so weak that running is more like a fast stumble. The case of water bangs against my leg. Cans slip from my grip, clattering on the ground behind me. I don't stop for them. The infected behind me are making sounds now, that awful moaning that rises in pitch, calling to others. The ones at the crash site are turning, attracted by the commotion. I can see them in my peripheral vision starting to move in this direction. 40 feet to the ladder. 30. My lungs are burning. My legs are giving out. I'm not going to make it. 20 feet. An infected comes around the side of a portable toilet directly in my path. It's fast, one of the fresh ones, its face still recognizably human. It lunges at me, arms outstretched, fingers hooked into claws. I throw the case of water at it. The plastic case hits the thing's chest, and water bottles explode out, bouncing across the ground. The infected trips over them, goes down hard. I dodge around it, dropping more granola bars in my panic. 10 feet to the ladder. 5. I jump for it, hands grabbing rungs, my remaining supplies pressed against the ladder by my body. I start climbing, faster than I've ever climbed anything in my life, terror giving me strength I didn't know I still had. Something grabs my ankle. I kick, hard, connecting with something soft that gives way. The grip releases. I keep climbing, not looking down, just reaching for the next rung, and the next, and the next. Below me, the infected are gathering at the base of the ladder. I can hear them, feel the vibration of them hitting the crane's support structure. One is climbing after me. I can hear its hands and feet on the metal, that horrible scraping, uneven rhythm. I climb faster. My arms are screaming. My grip is weakening. One hand slips, and for a heart-stopping second, I'm hanging by one arm, my supplies sliding. I catch myself, keep going, 50 feet up. The infected below are climbing, 3 of them, maybe 4, coming up after me with that jerky determination. But I'm faster, even weakened. I'm pulling away, 100 feet. My arms are shaking so badly I can barely hold on. Each rung is an agony. The supplies are slipping, and I have to make a choice. I let the cans go. They fall, bouncing off the crane structure, clattering down to the ground far below. Gone. All that risk for nothing. But I still have the granola bars in my pockets. I still have that. 150 feet. I risk a glance down. The infected have given up the climb. They're too decayed, too uncoordinated. They've fallen back to the ground, joining the crowd at the base. There must be 30 of them down there now, maybe more, all looking up at me. I keep climbing. 200 feet, 220, 230. The platform, the cabin door still open, spilling my safety into the night air. I collapse through the door, pulling it shut behind me, my whole body shaking. I lie on the cabin floor for I don't know how long, just breathing, unable to believe I'm still alive. The granola bars in my pockets are crushed, but I don't care. I pull one out with trembling hands, tearing open the wrapper with my teeth. The first bite is the best thing I've ever tasted. Oats and honey and chocolate chips, real food, solid food. I chew slowly, fighting the urge to just swallow it whole, knowing my starved stomach can't handle too much at once. I eat 3 bars, forcing myself to stop, even though I want to eat all of them right now. My stomach cramps, unused to real food, but the gnawing emptiness is already starting to fade. I look out the window at the infected below. They're still there, milling around the base of the crane. I've rung the dinner bell, drawn them from all over the area. There must be 50 of them down there now, maybe more in the shadows I can't see. I think about the cans of soup I dropped, the water I lost. The trip wasn't a complete success, but I have food now. Maybe a dozen granola bars total, crushed but edible. At 1 or 2 a day, that's a week, maybe more. A week I wouldn't have had. Was it worth the risk? I'm alive. I have food. The infected know I'm up here now in a way they didn't before, but they can't reach me. So yes, it was worth it. I hope. I eat another granola bar before I can stop myself. The hunger is still there, demanding, angry that I'm cutting it off after just a taste of satisfaction. But I force the wrapper closed, put the rest away in the storage compartment. Discipline. I survived this long through discipline and luck. Mostly luck, probably. But the discipline part, I can control. The infected below are starting to disperse. Without continued stimulus, they're wandering away, back to their territories and routines. Business suit man reappears, resuming his circuit like nothing happened. In an hour, the area will look like it did before, minus a few cans of soup and a case of water. I made it. Against all odds, against every smart instinct that said, stay put and stay safe, I went down there and made it back. I'm a goddamn action hero. Or a goddamn idiot. Probably both. My hands are still shaking. The adrenaline is wearing off, leaving me exhausted and sore. Every muscle hurts. My palms are torn up from the ladder, bleeding sluggishly. I hadn't noticed during the climb, but now the pain is setting in. I use strips from my shirt as bandages, wrapping my hands carefully. The bleeding stops. Everything hurts, but nothing is broken. I'm okay. Battered and terrified in retrospect, but okay. The moon is higher now, casting stark shadows across the city. I can see the family's house to the south. Their window is dark. Everyone is hiding, trying to survive, making do with whatever they have, wherever they are. I'm not special. I'm not the only one going through this. But I'm still here, still fighting. That has to count for something. I settle into the chair, my body slowly coming down from the panic. The cabin sways gently in the wind, a motion that used to terrify me, but now feels almost comforting. This is my home now. This 12 by 5 metal box, 200 feet above hell. Day 11 is over. Day 12 is beginning. I have food now. I can last longer. I can survive. I have to. The night passes slowly. Don't sleep much. Too wired from the adrenaline. Too aware of every sound from below. The infected are more active at night, I've noticed. Not more numerous, but more mobile, like the darkness makes them bolder. They wander farther from their usual territories, investigating sounds and movements with more aggression. Around 3 in the morning, a group of them gathers below my crane again. Not the same ones from earlier. These are different. A pack of 8 or 9, led by that teenager in the basketball jersey. They look up at the cabin, swaying slightly, and for a horrible moment, I think they're going to try climbing. But they just stand there, staring upward with their dead eyes, like they're trying to figure out what I am. After about 10 minutes, they lose interest and move on, disappearing around the corner of the half-finished apartment building. I wonder what they remember. Do they have any thoughts left? Any memories of being human? Or are they just pure instinct now, hunting and feeding machines running on autopsy nerve impulses? Business Suit Man suggests they remember something. His route, his pause at the intersection. Those aren't random. Some part of him recalls his commute, recalls waiting for the light, recalls going home. But is that really memory, or just the ghost of routine burned so deep into his neurons that it survived death? I'll never know. And it probably doesn't matter. Whether they remember being human or not, they're not human anymore. They're the infected, the dead, the things that ended the world. And I'm the guy hiding from them in a crane, eating crushed granola bars and hoping it rains. Dawn comes slowly, the sky lightening from black to gray to pale blue. The infected below seem to slow down slightly as the sun rises, though they don't stop moving. I wonder if they're photosensitive, if the sunlight bothers them. Or maybe they're just following some deep biological rhythm that says nighttime is for hunting and daytime is for whatever they do during the day. Wander, mostly, from what I've seen. The heat starts building early. It's going to be a hot one today, I can tell. By noon, the cabin will be unbearable. But I have food in my stomach now, real food, and that makes everything more bearable. The constant grinding hunger is gone, replaced by a dull ache that's almost pleasant in comparison. I allow myself 1 granola bar for breakfast, eating it slowly, savoring each bite. Oats, honey, a hint of cinnamon. Whoever stocked this container had good taste. I should have rated it days ago, but hindsight is always perfect. The binoculars come out, and I do my morning survey of the city. The fires to the west have died down. Just smoke now, thin wisps that could almost be morning fog if you didn't know better. The streets are their usual nightmare landscape of abandoned cars, bodies, trash, and wandering infected. The family to the south opens their window, right on schedule. I can see movement inside, but no one comes close enough to the window for me to make out details. They're being careful, smart. I wonder what their situation is. Do they have food, water? Are there more people in that house than the 3 I've seen? The office building to the east is still dark. No sign of the person who was signaling me. I have to assume they're dead. Either they made it to the store and didn't make it back, or they never left the building and starved. Either way, they're gone. Another voice silenced, another survivor lost. How many of us are left? In this city of 2 million people, how many are still alive, still human? Hundreds? Dozens? Less? I scan the skyline, looking for any signs of life. Smoke that could be from a cook fire rather than destruction. Lights at night, movement that's too purposeful to be infected. I see nothing. Just the dead city and the things that inherited it. A helicopter passed over on day 3. Military, flying low and fast, heading north. I waved and shouted like an idiot, like they could possibly see one person in a crane cabin from that height and speed. They didn't circle back, haven't seen or heard another aircraft since. Either the military pulled back to defensible positions, or there is no military anymore. Neither option is comforting. The radio silence suggests the latter. If there was still organized resistance, there would be broadcasts, instructions, evacuation routes, safe zones. The fact that every frequency is just static means either the infrastructure is completely gone, or there's no one left to broadcast. I'm on my own. We all are, those of us still alive. Scattered survivors in a dead world, hiding in whatever holes we could find, hoping for rescue that isn't coming. The despair of that thought threatens to overwhelm me. Push it away, focus on practical things. Water collection. I need to clean out my shirt strips and have them ready for the next rain. Inventory my granola bars. Looks like I have 13 plus what's left of the one I'm eating. Figure out exercises I can do without exhausting myself too much. 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time. Don't think about tomorrow or next week or next month. Just focus on surviving right now, this moment. A scream from the north interrupts my thoughts, different from last night's screams. This one is defiant, angry rather than terrified. It's followed by the crash of breaking glass and a series of loud bangs that might be gunshots. The infected below all turn toward the sound, their attention laser-focused. Within seconds, every single one I can see is moving north, drawn by the noise like moths to a flame. The construction site empties out, infected shambling and running and lurching in a steady stream toward whatever's happening up there. Someone is making a stand. Someone has a gun and is fighting back. Part of me hopes they make it, that they manage to kill the infected and find safety. Part of me knows they won't, that all they're doing is attracting every infected in a 5-mile radius, that in 10 minutes or an hour or by nightfall, they'll be dead and converted. The sounds continue for maybe 5 minutes. More crashes, more shots, a car alarm going off. Then it cuts off abruptly, and the silence that follows is somehow worse than the noise was. The infected don't come back right away. They've all converged on that location, and they'll stay there for a while, feeding or searching or whatever they do. It gives me a reprieve, a chance to open the windows wider than usual, to let fresh air flow through the cabin without worrying about drawing attention. Take the opportunity to try to clean myself up a little. I haven't bathed in 11 days, and I smell worse than the cabin does. My shirt is in tatters, used for water collection and bandages. My jeans are stained and torn. My skin is grimy with accumulated sweat and dirt. I use one of the shirt strips, dampened with rainwater I collected last night, to wipe down my face and neck. The cloth comes away gray with grime. I clean my hands, my arms, trying to get at least a few layers of filth off. It's not a real bath, but it's something. It makes me feel slightly more human. Looking at myself in the reflection of the darkened control panel screen, I barely recognize the person staring back. Gaunt face, sunken eyes, beard coming in patchy and wild. I look like a corpse. I look like one of them. How long until I actually become one of them? How long until the hunger or the isolation drives me to do something stupid and I end up infected myself? How long until I just waste away up here, too weak to climb down even if I wanted to? Stop it. Stop thinking like that. You have food now. You made it this long. You can keep going. I eat another granola bar, my third today. I'm probably eating too much, burning through my supplies too fast, but I need the calories. Need the strength in case I have to make another run like last night. In case an opportunity presents itself. The day drags on. The heat builds until the cabin is an oven again. I strip down, drink my rationed water, try to stay still. The infected gradually drift back from whatever happened to the north, resuming their territories and routines. Business suit man is back, reliable as ever, doing his circuit. I count them, all the infected I can see. 43 in my immediate visual range. Probably double that in the areas I can't see clearly. Call it 100 infected in the blocks surrounding this construction site. 100 dead things that want to tear me apart and eat me. And I'm going to have to go down there again. Eventually. The granola bars won't last forever. When they run out, I'm back to starving unless I can get to more supplies. The storage container still has food in it. Not much. I saw maybe a dozen more cans, some more boxes of snacks. Enough for a few more weeks if I'm careful. But going down there again, I barely made it back last time. The fear, the climb, the close calls. Can I do that again? Can I risk it? I'll have to. There's no other option. Up here without food means slow death. Down there means quick death if I'm not careful, but at least it's a chance. I spend the afternoon planning the next supply run. When should I do it? Not for a few days at least. Give the infected time to forget about me, to settle back into their routines. What should I take? A bag of some kind to carry more supplies. I could use my jeans, tie off the legs, and make a crude sack. What time? Late night, around 3 a.m. when they seem least active. What supplies? Water first, as many bottles as I can carry. Then cans, as many as I can fit. Then boxes of snacks, prioritized by calories per weight ratio. I'm thinking like a survivor now. Calculating, planning, strategizing. This is good. This is what I need to do to make it. The panic and fear are still there, but underneath it is a growing determination. I refuse to die up here. I refuse to let those things win. The family to the south has their window open wider than usual. I can see people moving inside, definitely 3 people, confirming my earlier count. They're doing something, moving boxes or furniture maybe, fortifying their position, preparing to leave. I wish I could communicate with them, coordinate somehow. But we're separated by 2 city blocks in a street full of infected. Might as well be separated by an ocean. A flock of crows settles on the abandoned cars below, picking at something I can't see and don't want to think about. They're so casual about it, hopping from car to car, cawing at each other, completely unbothered by the infected shambling past. The birds figured out quickly that they're not on the menu. Lucky them. One crow flies up and lands on my crane arm again. I watch it through the front windscreen, envying its freedom. It can go anywhere, eat anything, escape any danger. All it has to do is fly away. Meanwhile, I'm trapped in this box, completely dependent on random chance and my own fragile plans. The crow shifts around, tilts its head, and seems to look directly at me. We stare at each other for a long moment. Then it shits on the crane arm and flies away. Even the birds are mocking me now. Evening comes. The temperature finally starts to drop. I open the windows a crack, careful not to make noise, and let the cooler air flow through. My 3rd night shift has taught me when it's safe to do this, when the infected below are far enough away that they won't hear the window opening. I eat another granola bar, my 4th today. More than I should have, but my body is demanding it after yesterday's exertion. My hands are healing, the cuts scabbing over. I'm sore all over, muscles I forgot I had complaining about the climb and the desperate sprint. But I'm alive and fed and relatively safe. Stars are coming out now, impossibly bright without any light pollution. I can see the Milky Way, something I've never been able to see from the city before. It's beautiful, this river of light across the sky, and it makes me feel incredibly small. Somewhere up there are other planets, maybe other civilizations. Are they looking down at Earth right now, watching our apocalypse, wondering what went wrong with us? What did go wrong? That's the question I keep coming back to. How did this happen? One day, the world was normal. People going to work, living their lives, complaining about traffic and taxes. The next day, screaming and chaos, and the dead getting back up. There was no warning, no gradual build-up, just sudden catastrophic collapse. Was it a virus? Some kind of bioweapon? An experiment gone wrong? I'll probably never know. The people who could have answered that question are dead or infected now, their knowledge lost. All that matters is that it happened, and I have to deal with the result. A sound from below makes me freeze. Not the usual moaning or shuffling, but something different, rhythmic, deliberate, bang, 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 like someone hitting metal with a pipe. I grab the binoculars and scan the construction site. There, near the portable toilets, someone is down there, alive, banging on a pipe to attract attention. They're wearing dark clothes. Hard to make out details in the failing light. They're waving their arms, and I realize they're waving at me. They see the crane cabin, see the light from my movement inside, and they're signaling. Every infected in the area is turning toward them. The noise is drawing them like blood in water, and there are dozens converging on that location. The person sees them coming and starts running, still banging the pipe, creating more noise. They're leading them away, drawing the infected away from something or someone. It's a distraction, a sacrifice play. They're sprinting now, infected closing in from all sides. They make it to the fence, throw the pipe, and start climbing. The infected reach the fence seconds later, grabbing at the person's legs, pulling. The person kicks free, keeps climbing, reaches the top of the 8-foot fence, and jumps down the other side, disappearing from my view. The infected hit the fence, some trying to climb, others just pressing against it. The fence holds. The person is gone, escaped into the darkness beyond the construction site. But why? Why draw all that attention, risk all that danger? Then, I see movement near the storage container. Another person, smaller, moving quickly through the now clear area. They're at the container door. It's still unlocked from my visit. They go inside. They're using the same strategy I did. One person creates a distraction while another raids the supplies. But they're doing it as a team, coordinated, planned. They're working together. There are more survivors out there, organized ones, smart ones. The person in the container emerges carrying bags, plural, actual bags, not shirt sacks. They're loaded down with supplies, moving fast but careful. They head toward a gap in the fence on the far side of the site, away from where the infected are clustered. They're going to make it. They're actually going to make it. A whistle, sharp and loud, cuts through the night. The first person, the distraction, calling to the second. The infected at the fence react to the new sound, some of them peeling off, but most stay focused on where they last saw movement. The person with supplies is at the fence gap, squeezing through. They're clear. They made it. I feel a surge of, something. Relief, joy, hope. There are other people out there still fighting, still surviving with more than just blind luck. People who can plan and coordinate and execute. People who might make it through this. Part of me wants to climb down right now. Find them, join them. Safety in numbers, the old saying goes. 2 people working together just pulled off a supply run that would have been suicide alone. What could a group accomplish? But I don't know who they are. Don't know if they're friendly or hostile, if they'd welcome another mouth to feed, or just see me as competition for resources. And by the time I could climb down and try to find them, they'd be long gone anyway. I'm better off staying put. Staying safe in my crane cabin, even if I'm alone. At least up here I only have to worry about keeping myself alive. But it's nice to know I'm not the only one still fighting. The infected below are slowly realizing they've been duped. They mill around the fence, confused, eventually wandering back to their territories. Business Suit Man resumes his route, undisturbed by the commotion. Life, or unlife, goes on. I settle in for the night, my mind racing with possibilities. Other survivors, organized ones. Maybe they have a base somewhere, a real shelter with supplies and safety. Maybe they're recruiting, looking for others to join them. Or maybe they're just a couple of desperate people trying to survive day by day, same as me. Either way, it changes things. I'm not alone in this city, and if they can make it work, working together, maybe there's more hope than I thought. Maybe. Day 12 ends. Day 13 begins. I'm I'm running low on granola bars faster than I'd like. 8 left after I couldn't resist having another before sleep. At this rate, I have maybe 5 days before I'm starving again. That's not enough time. I need to plan another supply run, and soon. But I also need to be smarter about it. The last run nearly got me killed, and that was with luck and adrenaline on my side. I'm not sure I can count on getting that lucky again. The morning comes with clouds, heavy and gray, threatening rain. Good. I need water more than I need sun. My collection system is ready. Shirt strips hanging from the window frame, positioned to catch as much rain as possible. The empty water bottle is open, waiting. Rain starts around 9 a.m., a steady drizzle that builds into a proper downpour by 10. I work the collection system, rotating strips, wringing them out, refilling the bottle. It's tedious work, but it's productive. By noon, I have the bottle full and my mouth less dry than it's been in days. The rain also means the infected below slow down. They don't stop moving entirely, but they move less purposefully, like the rain confuses them. Some of them just stand in place, faces turned up to the sky, water washing over them. It's eerie, watching them stand there like broken statues, more dead than usual. Business suit man is still doing his circuit, rain or shine. That routine is burned deeper than anything else in his dead brain. I wonder if he was one of those people who took the same route to work every single day for years, who parked in the same spot, bought coffee from the same place, sat at the same desk. The kind of person whose entire life was routine. Now that routine is all he has left, all that's left of whoever he used to be. The rain clears by mid-afternoon, leaving the streets slick and shiny, puddles reflecting the gray sky. The temperature drops, and for once the cabin is comfortable instead of an oven or an icebox. I can breathe without feeling like the air is trying to kill me. I do my exercises, push-ups, squats, stretches. My body is weak, but it's responding better now that I have some food in me. I'm not going to win any fitness competitions, but I'm not completely helpless either. If I have to run again, I might actually make it more than 50 feet before collapsing. The afternoon drags. I count things to pass the time. Windows in the building across the street, 43 visible from here. Cars on the street below, 22 in my sight range. Cracks in the crane cabin ceiling, 7, plus a rust spot that's spreading. Infected doing business suit man's exact route. Just him still always. Boredom is its own kind of torture up here. There's nothing to do, nothing to read, nothing to occupy my mind except watching and counting and worrying. I've memorized every detail of this cabin, every scratch and stain and bolt. I could draw it from memory with my eyes closed. Try to remember books I've read, movies I've seen, trying to replay them in my head scene by scene. It works for a while, but my memory is full of holes, details I can't quite recall. Did the hero in that action movie jump from a helicopter or a plane? Was the book about time travel or parallel dimensions? It all blurs together. I find myself thinking about food again. Not just hungry thinking, but detailed fantasies. I imagine walking into a restaurant, my favorite Italian place on Granville Street, and ordering everything on the menu. Pasta, pizza, breadsticks, salad, tiramisu. I imagine the taste of each dish, the texture, the smell. I imagine eating until I can't eat anymore, until my stomach hurts from being full. Then I eat a granola bar, and the fantasy pops like a soap bubble, 7 bars left. The family to the south has their window closed today, probably because of the rain. I wonder what they're doing in there. Do they have cards, books, games? How do they pass the time? Are they fighting, stress and fear making them snap at each other? Or are they closer now, drawn together by shared survival? I hope they're okay. I hope they have enough supplies, enough water, enough hope to keep going. They're the only other survivors I can consistently see, the only proof that I'm not the last human being in this dead city. Evening comes slowly, the sun setting behind thick clouds that turn everything orange and purple. It's beautiful, in the way that terrible things can sometimes be beautiful. The apocalypse has the best sunsets, apparently. That's something. I'm settling in for the night when I hear it. Engines. Distant, but definitely engines. Vehicles moving somewhere in the city. I press against the window, straining to see. There, to the east, maybe a mile away. Headlights. Multiple vehicles moving in a convoy, fast, heading south. The sound echoes off the buildings, making it hard to pinpoint exactly where they are. Military? Survivors with cars? Raiders of some kind? The lights disappear behind buildings, the sound fading. They're not coming this way. They're following some other route, heading somewhere I can't see. But they're there. Organized survivors with vehicles, enough organization to move in a convoy. That means fuel, maintenance, planning. That means a group, possibly a large one. And they're not coming here. They don't know I exist, and I have no way to signal them. Even if I did, would they stop? Would they risk their convoy for one person in a crane? Probably not. The sound fades completely, leaving just the usual city noises, moaning, shuffling, the whisper of wind through empty streets. The convoy is gone, off to wherever they're going, and I'm still here, alone in my metal box. But for a moment, for just a few seconds, I had proof that there's still organized human civilization out there somewhere. Proof that we haven't completely lost. It's not much, but it's something. Day 13 slides into day 14. I'm rationing my granola bars more carefully now, one in the morning and one at night, trying to stretch them as long as possible. My stomach growls in protest, but I ignore it. Discipline. Survival requires discipline. The nights are hardest. That's when the loneliness really sets in, when the darkness makes the cabin feel even smaller, when every sound from below makes me jump. I've started talking to myself more, full conversations with an imaginary companion. Think we'll make it? I ask the empty cabin. Sure, I answer myself. We've made it this far. But the food's running out again. So we'll get more. We did it once, we can do it again. What if we're not lucky next time? Then we'll die. But we're not dead yet, so shut up and let me sleep. It's insane, I know. Talking to myself like there's another person here. But it helps. It makes the silence less oppressive. Makes me feel less alone. And up here, alone in this crane 200 feet above the infected, a little bit of insanity might be the only thing keeping me sane. I wonder how long a person can survive in complete isolation before they lose their mind entirely. I've heard about solitary confinement driving people insane in days or weeks. I'm on day 14 now. How much longer before I stop being able to distinguish between what's real and what's not? Stop it. You're fine. You're handling this. Focus on survival, not on what-ifs. I do my exercises, eat my rationed granola bar, drink my collected rainwater. The routine is important. Structure is important. As long as I have a routine, I'm still human, still functional, still me. The sun comes up on day 15. 5 bars left. I need to make another supply run soon, but I'm terrified to try. Last time, I barely made it. This time might be worse. The infected haven't forgotten about me. They still gather below sometimes, looking up at the cabin like they're waiting for me to come down again. But I have to try. 5 days of food at most. After that, I'm back to starving, and I'm already weak enough. Can't afford to get any weaker. I spend the day planning, studying the infected patterns, looking for gaps in their coverage, trying to find the best time to move. Late night seems best, around 2 or 3 a.m. when they're at their least active. But I need to be careful. One mistake, and I'm done. The pair of survivors I saw doing their coordinated run haven't appeared again. Either they got what they needed, or they're dead, or they're operating in a different part of the city now. I keep watching for them, hoping to see another sign of intelligent life. But the streets remain full of only the dead. Day 16. 4 bars left. The hunger is back, constant and gnawing. I'm rationing too strictly, not eating enough to maintain my strength, but if I eat more, I'll run out sooner. It's a balancing act with no good answer. I notice I'm getting weaker again. The brief boost from the granola bars is wearing off, my body consuming itself once more. My hands shake more. I get dizzy when I stand up. My thoughts are fuzzy around the edges, harder to organize. I need to make the run. Tonight. Before I get too weak to climb. The day passes in agonizing slowness. I try to rest, to conserve energy, but anxiety keeps me wired. I play out scenarios in my head. What could go wrong? What could go right? What I'll do if I encounter infected? What I'll grab first? Water. Water first, always. Then, cans. Then, anything else I can carry. The sun sets. I eat my second to last granola bar, needing the energy for what I'm about to do. 3 bars left. But if this works, I won't need them. If this fails, I won't need them either. I make preparations. I've torn apart my remaining intact shirt sleeve and fashioned it into a crude bag tied with strips of fabric. It won't hold much, but it's better than nothing. My hands are healed enough to climb. My legs are weak but functional. This is as ready as I'm gonna get. Midnight comes, 1 a.m. I watch the infected below, counting them, tracking their patterns. Business suit man is doing his route. Parking lot woman is swaying by her Honda. Runner is prowling his territory to the north. The basketball jersey pack is nowhere visible. Good. 2 a.m. The infected are at their slowest, moving like sleepwalkers. This is as good as it gets. 3 a.m. Time to go. I open the cabin door. The hinges squeal and I freeze, but none of the infected below react. They're too far away, too focused on whatever internal drives push them through the night. The ladder stretches down into darkness. I've done this before. I can do it again. One rung at a time, I climb down, my makeshift bag hanging from my shoulder. The metal is cold under my hands, slick with dew. My muscles protest, weak and tired, but I push through. Halfway down, the ground is visible now, the infected scattered but present. I can see 5 of them in my immediate area. 5 too many, but better than the dozens from last time. 3/4 down, one of the infected is wandering toward the crane base, an older one, badly decayed, barely humanoid. It's heading right toward where I'll be when I reach the ground. Should I go back up? Wait for it to pass? I'm so exposed on this ladder, so vulnerable. No. If I go back up now, I'll lose my nerve. I'll never come down again, and I'll starve in that cabin. This is my chance. My only chance. I keep climbing faster now, trying to reach the ground before the infected reaches the ladder. My feet hit concrete, and I immediately move toward the storage container, circling wide around the approaching infected. It hasn't seen me yet. It's facing away, moving slowly. I have maybe 30 seconds before it turns and spots me. I run as quietly as I can, my footsteps loud in my own ears. 20 feet to the container. 10. The door is still unlocked from the last raids. I pull it open. The creak sounds like a scream in the quiet night. The infected turns. It sees me. It doesn't make a sound, just starts moving toward me with that awful jerky speed. I dive into the container, grabbing the nearest water bottle, then another, stuffing them into my bag, a can of soup. Another. The bag is getting heavy. The infected is at the container door. I grab one more water bottle and turn to face it. The thing is right there, arms reaching, mouth open in a silent snarl. I swing the water bottle hard, connecting with its head. The bottle bursts, water spraying everywhere, but the impact staggers the infected back a step. I bolt past it, running for the crane. My bag bangs against my side, water and cans shifting. Behind me, the infected has recovered and is giving chase, and its movement has attracted others. I can see them turning, starting to converge. The ladder. I jump for it, start climbing. The bag makes it harder. It keeps slipping, throwing off my balance. Below me, the infected reaches the ladder and starts climbing after me. Up! Just keep going up. Don't look down. Don't think about what happens if you fall. 20 feet up. 30. The infected is climbing surprisingly fast, maintaining its distance. I can hear its hands and feet on the rungs, that horrible scraping sound. 50 feet. My arms are burning. The bag is so heavy. One of the water bottles slips out, falls, bounces off the climbing infected's head. It doesn't even slow down. 75 feet. I'm slowing down. Can't maintain this pace. The infected is getting closer. I can hear its breathing, this awful rattling wheeze that shouldn't exist in a dead thing. 100 feet. Halfway there. My grip is weakening. The bag is slipping from my shoulder. I have to make a choice. The supplies or my life. I let the bag go. It falls, taking my precious water and food with it, bouncing off the infected, tumbling to the ground far below. Gone. All that risk for nothing again. But I'm lighter now. Faster. I climb with renewed desperation, pulling away from the infected below. It can't keep up without my weight slowing me down. The gap increases. 150 feet. 200. The infected has stopped climbing, either given up or unable to continue. It clings to the ladder about halfway up, swaying slightly. 230 feet. The platform. The cabin door. Safety. I collapse inside, slamming the door shut. My whole body is shaking. My hands are torn open again, bleeding freely. My muscles are screaming, and I have nothing to show for it. The bag is on the ground below, split open, its contents scattered. I can see water bottles reflecting moonlight, cans rolling across the pavement. The infected are converging on them, investigating, some of them trying to pick up the cans like they remember what food is. I risked everything, and I got nothing. The infected that climbed after me is still on the ladder, about halfway up. It's not moving, just hanging there, arms and legs wrapped around the rungs. Is it stuck? Waiting? Planning its next move? I watch it through the binoculars. It's one of the fresher ones, not as decayed as some. It just hangs there, motionless, for hours. Eventually, as dawn approaches, it starts climbing back down, slowly, carefully, like it's remembering how. It reaches the ground and shambles away, rejoining the others. They can learn, or remember, or adapt. Whatever it is, they're not completely mindless. That's terrifying. Day 17 dawns with me no better off than before. 3 granola bars left. No water except what I can collect. Hands bleeding and useless. Body exhausted beyond anything I've experienced. I failed. Twice now, I've risked my life to get supplies, and both times, I barely made it back alive with little to nothing to show for it. I can't keep doing this. I'm gonna die, if not from starvation, then from a fall, or an infected, or just pure exhaustion. Maybe I should give up. Just accept that this is it. That I survived as long as I could, but it wasn't enough. It would be easy. Stop rationing, eat the last granola bars, and when they're gone, just let the hunger take me. Fall asleep and don't wake up. It would be peaceful, probably. Better than the alternatives. But something in me rebels at that thought. Some stubborn core of survival instinct that refuses to quit. I didn't make it this far just to give up now. I didn't climb this crane, didn't survive 17 days of hell, didn't fight off infected twice just to roll over and die. I'm gonna make it. Somehow. Some way. I just have to figure out how. The sun rises higher, bringing heat. I'm dizzy from exertion and blood loss. I use the last clean strips of my shirt to bandage my hands again, but I'm running out of fabric, running out of everything, really. Think. There has to be a solution, some way to get supplies without climbing down, some way to reach the container from up here. Crane. I've been so focused on using it as shelter that I forgot it's a tool. A massive, powerful tool designed to move heavy objects across distances. Can I use it somehow? I look at the controls, really look at them for the first time in days. The boom can extend and retract. The trolley can move along the boom. The hook can lower hundreds of feet. The whole assembly can rotate 360 degrees. Could I lower the hook to the storage container, use it to grab supplies, and lift them up? No. The hook is designed for steel cables and construction materials, not delicate manipulation. And even if I could somehow rig a container to the hook, the infected would swarm it before I could lift it clear. But the idea has merit. Using the crane itself, using its reach and power, there has to be a way. I spend the rest of the morning studying the crane controls, relearning systems I haven't thought about in weeks. The boom extends to 200 feet. The trolley, the mechanism that moves along the boom, can position the hook anywhere along that length. The winch can lower the hook. I'd have to check the specs, but several hundred feet at least. An idea starts forming. Crazy, probably impossible, but an idea. What if I could reach another building? The office building to the east, for example. It's within the crane's radius, and it definitely has supplies inside. Offices always have break rooms with vending machines, maybe a kitchen. The person who was signaling from there proved there were survivors, which means there was food. Could I extend the boom to the building, use it as a bridge, and somehow cross over? It would be terrifyingly dangerous. The boom is just a steel lattice, no handrails, nothing to catch me if I fell. But it would get me to supplies without having to go to ground level. I'm too weak to try it today. Maybe tomorrow or the day after, if I can build up enough strength. For now, I need to rest, let my body recover from last night's disaster. I eat a granola bar, 2 left, and force myself to sleep. Nightmares plague me. I dream of falling, of infected climbing the ladder, of starving in the cabin while food sits just out of reach. I wake up gasping, disoriented, the cabin spinning around me. Evening, day 17 ending. I feel worse, not better. The exhaustion is bone deep, the kind that sleep doesn't fix. I'm running on fumes, and those fumes are almost gone. Tomorrow I'll try the crazy plan with the crane, because if I don't, there won't be a day after tomorrow, not for me. The family to the south has their window open. I can see them clearly tonight. 2 adults and a child, maybe 8 or 9 years old. They're eating something, I can tell from their movements. They have supplies, they're managing to survive. If they can do it, so can I. I have to believe that. I have to. Night falls. The infected below resume their nocturnal prowling. Business suit man walks his route. The stars come out, impossibly bright, and I sit in my crane cabin, bleeding and starving and terrified, planning one last desperate attempt to stay alive. Day 18. Tomorrow. I'll try tomorrow, if I survive that long. The night is endless. I drift in and out of sleep, never quite fully unconscious, always aware of the cabin around me and the death below. My hands throb where the bandages cover torn skin. My stomach is a hollow pit that no amount of ignoring will fill. Around 3 a.m., I give in and eat another granola bar. 1 left. 1 single bar between me and starvation. The taste of oats and honey is like ashes in my mouth. The brief satisfaction immediately replaced by the knowledge that I just consumed my penultimate chance at food. Dawn comes gray and cold. A fog has rolled in overnight, thick enough that I can barely see the ground. The infected move through it like ghosts, appearing and disappearing in the white murk. It's disorienting, eerily beautiful, and utterly useless for what I need to do. I can't try the crane bridge in this fog. I need to see where I'm going, need to see the building I'm trying to reach, need to be able to spot problems before they become fatal. So I wait, watching the fog slowly burn off as the sun rises higher. By 10 a.m., visibility is improved. By noon, the fog is gone entirely, replaced by another brutally hot day. The cabin becomes an oven again, but I barely notice. All my focus is on the plan, the office building to the east. 15 stories, modern construction, lots of windows. 3 blocks away, which puts it well within the crane's radius. I use the binoculars to study it carefully. Most of the windows are intact. The building looks structurally sound. And most importantly, the roof is accessible. I can see a door leading to the roof access from here. If I can extend the boom to that roof, and if I can somehow cross the gap, I might be able to get inside. Break a window on one of the top floors, search the building for supplies. Office buildings always have something. Break rooms, cafeterias, vending machines. Even if most of it's been looted or is spoiled, there might be something. The alternative is eating my last granola bar and waiting to die. Not really an alternative at all. I move to the crane controls, my torn hands making every movement painful. The key is still in the ignition where I left it 2 weeks ago. I turn it, half expecting nothing to happen. Why would the crane still have power after all this time? But it hums to life. The batteries are still charged, the diesel generator still has fuel, or maybe it's running on some backup system I don't fully understand. Either way, the controls light up, and the crane responds to my touch. First, I test the boom extension. It groans, metal protesting after sitting idle for so long, but it moves, slowly. Jerkily, the boom extends outward, the lattice framework reaching across the empty air toward the office building. I stop it at what I estimate is about halfway. Don't want to overextend and lose control. The infected below react to the noise. They look up, gathering beneath the crane again, drawn by the unfamiliar sound. Let them gather. They can't reach me, and I'm not going down there. Next, I rotate the crane. The cabin turns with it, swinging around until the boom is pointing directly at the office building. The movement is smooth. This part of the system gets used most, and it shows. I fine-tune the angle, lining up as best I can with the building's roof. Now comes the hard part. I need to judge the distance, extend the boom until it's close enough to the building that I could theoretically jump the gap, but not so close that the boom hits the building. That would be catastrophic, potentially damaging the crane or even causing it to topple. I extend incrementally, watching through the windscreen using the binoculars to check my progress. The boom creeps closer to the building, 100 feet away, 75, 50. At 30 feet, I stop. That's as close as I dare get. The gap is still significant. I'd estimate 20 to 25 feet between the end of the boom and the roof. Can I cross that? No, not by jumping. Even at full strength, I couldn't jump 25 feet, and I'm nowhere near full strength. I'd fall, simple as that. And falling from 15 stories is just as fatal as falling from 23 stories. I need a bridge, something to span the gap. But what? I don't have materials. I don't have rope or cables or boards. All I have is the crane itself. Wait, the winch cable. I can lower the cable from the trolley, use it to... What? Swing across? That's insane. That's movie stunt work, not real survival strategy. But what else do I have? I position the trolley at the end of the boom, directly between me and the office building. Then, I start lowering the cable. It unreels smoothly, the hook dropping down, until it's hanging at about the level of the office building's roof. The cable sways in the wind, the hook describing slow circles. It looks impossibly thin from here, impossible fragile. But I know that cable is rated for tons of weight. It would hold me? Probably. The question is whether I can actually do this. Climb out onto the boom, make my way to the end, attach myself to that cable somehow, and then... What? Swing to the building? Climb down the cable? Both options sound equally impossible. I sit in the chair, staring at the swaying cable, at the building beyond, at the death waiting below. This is insane. This is suicide with extra steps. But so is staying here and starving. I need equipment. Something to attach myself to the cable, something to protect my already ruined hands, something to give me any chance at all. I search the cabin again, though I've been through it a dozen times before. Under the seat, in the storage compartments, behind the panels. There has to be something. I find a safety harness tucked in the back of a storage box. It's old, probably hasn't been used in years, but it's rated equipment. It has a D-ring for attaching to a safety line. That could work for the cable. Maybe. I also find work gloves, heavy leather ones that will protect my hands better than bandages. They're too big for me. Whoever they belong to had large hands, but they'll do. and in the very back of another compartment, I find a miracle. A protein bar. Old, possibly expired, the wrapper sun-damaged and faded, but it's food. Real, concentrated calories. I eat it immediately, not even bothering to check the expiration date. It tastes like cardboard and chemicals, but it's substantial. It's real. My stomach accepts it gratefully, and I feel a tiny surge of energy. It's not much, but combined with the last granola bar, it might be enough to give me the strength to do this crazy thing. I put on the safety harness, adjusting straps until it fits as well as it's going to. I put on the gloves, flexing my fingers, feeling the leather stretch. I'm as ready as I'll ever be. But not today. The sun is already past its peak, and attempting this in afternoon heat would be suicide. I need to be at full strength, as much as that's possible. I need morning light, cooler temperatures, the best possible conditions. Tomorrow. First thing tomorrow morning when the sun is up but the heat hasn't built yet. That's when I'll try. For now, I retract the boom slightly, bringing it back to a safer position. The infected below watch the movement, tracking it with their dead eyes. They know something is happening. They're waiting for me to make a mistake. I won't give them the satisfaction. Evening comes. I eat my last granola bar, savoring each bite, knowing it's the last food I'll have unless tomorrow's plan works. Then, I settle into the chair and try to rest, try to build up every bit of strength I have left. Sleep doesn't come easy. I keep running through the plan, looking for flaws, trying to anticipate problems. What if the cable breaks? What if I lose my grip? What if there are infected in the building? What if the building is empty, already looted, and I risk everything for nothing? What if I die? That's the real question. That's what it comes down to. Am I willing to risk certain death for a chance at survival? I look out at the stars, at the ruined city below, at the infected shambling through the darkness. I think about my sister in Toronto, about Sarah, about everyone I've ever known. They're probably all gone. I'm probably the last person I know still alive. Does that mean my life matters more or less? Should I guard it preciously, preserve it at all costs? Or should I risk it on desperate chances? Because what's the point of surviving if I'm just going to die slowly anyway? I don't know. I don't have answers. All I have is tomorrow's plan and the terror that comes with it. Day 18 ends. Day 19 is about to begin. The day I either find a way to survive, or the day I die trying. I guess we'll see which. The hours crawl by. Every time I close my eyes, I see myself falling or slipping, or the cable snapping. My imagination is torturing me with 1,000 ways this could go wrong, but staying here guarantees starvation, so really there's no choice at all. Around midnight, something wakes me fully. Not a sound exactly, but a feeling. A change in the air. I look out the window and see them. The infected have gathered below in greater numbers than I've ever seen. Dozens of them, maybe 100, all clustered around the crane base. They're not moving much, just standing there, swaying slightly, all facing up toward me. They know. Somehow they know I'm going to try something, or maybe they've just finally figured out that there's food up here and they're willing to wait for it. Either way, it's unnerving, like they're spectators at an execution, mine, just waiting for the show to begin. I force myself to look away, to try to sleep a few more hours. I'll need every ounce of strength for what's coming. Dawn breaks clear and cool. Perfect conditions, if there is such a thing, for what I'm about to attempt. The infected below haven't dispersed. If anything, there are more of them now. The entire construction site is packed with them, a sea of dead faces all turned upward. They're going to watch me do this. Watch me succeed, or watch me fall. An audience for the end of the world. I put on the safety harness again, check all the straps twice, 3 times. The gloves go on. I drink the last of my collected water, knowing I'll need the hydration. My hands shake as I grip the door handle. Time to go. I move to the crane controls and extend the boom again, slower this time, more carefully. I rotate it into position, line it up with the office building, position the trolley at the end, lower the cable until the hook hangs about level with the building's roof, swaying gently in the morning breeze. The boom is pointing at the building like an accusing finger, a bridge to salvation or death. Probably death. This is such a stupid plan, but it's the only plan I have. I open the cabin door and step out onto the platform. The crane sways slightly and my stomach drops. I'm 230 feet up. I can't afford to think about that. The boom extends from the crane's mast just below the cabin. To reach it, I have to climb down about 10 feet of ladder, then step onto the boom itself. The boom is made of steel lattice, a framework of beams and cross braces, roughly 4 feet wide, with gaps between the structural members. Not designed for walking on, not designed for people at all, really. I climb down to the boom's level, moving slowly, my heart hammering. The infected below track my movement, moaning, rising in pitch. They can see me. They're excited. The boom stretches out before me, 200 feet of steel framework extending into empty air. The office building sits at the far end, close, but still impossibly far. The cable hangs from the trolley about halfway along the boom's length, swaying, the hook catching morning light. I have to walk out onto that boom, reach that cable, and somehow use it to cross the remaining gap to the building. Simple. Insane, but simple. I step onto the boom. My foot finds purchase on a crossbeam, and I steady myself, hands gripping the upper framework. The whole structure flexes slightly under my weight. Not much, just enough to remind me that this is designed to hold construction materials suspended from cables, not to support a person walking on it. Don't look down, focus on the next step, then the next. I move forward, crawling as much as walking, using both hands and feet to grip the framework. The steel is solid under my gloves, but the gaps between beams are wide enough that I can see straight through to the ground far below. The infected are directly underneath, tracking me, reaching up uselessly, 10 feet onto the boom. 20. The crane cabin is behind me now, receding. I'm committed. The only way out is forward. The wind picks up and the boom sways. Not much, maybe a foot side to side. But when you're crawling along at 200 feet in the air, a foot feels like a mile. I freeze, gripping the framework, waiting for the movement to stop. It doesn't stop. There's always wind up here. The boom always sways. I just never noticed it from inside the cabin. This is normal. This is fine. Keep moving. 30 feet. 40. I'm a quarter of the way along the boom now. The cable is getting closer, hanging about 30 feet ahead. My arms are already tired, my grip weakening. The gloves help, but they're bulky, making it hard to feel the steel properly. 50 feet. I make the mistake of looking down, and vertigo hits me like a physical blow. The ground is so far away, the infected so small, the whole city spread out below me like a map. I'm going to fall. I can feel it. Gravity is pulling at me, and it's only a matter of time. No. Focus. Breathe. Keep moving. The cable is 20 feet ahead now. I can see the hook swaying, the cable disappearing up to the trolley mechanism above me. That cable is my lifeline, my only chance. 15 feet. 10. I'm close enough now that I can see how worn the cable is, how the individual strands are frayed in places. It's old. This crane hasn't been serviced in months, maybe longer. That cable has been sitting in the weather, slowly degrading. It'll hold. It has to hold. 5 feet from the cable. I position myself as directly under the trolley as I can manage, trying to figure out the best way to reach the hook. It's hanging about 15 feet below my current position, swaying in and out of reach. I could try to grab it, but I'd have to lean out, reach down, and risk losing my balance. Or I could try to swing it toward me, but that risks sending it swinging too far, out of reach entirely. Or I could climb down the boom framework until I'm level with it. The framework extends below the main beams, cross braces creating a lattice I could theoretically climb down. It would be like climbing down a ladder, except the ladder is suspended 200 feet in the air and swaying in the wind. Of course, that's what I have to do, because nothing about this can be easy. I start climbing down, moving from beam to beam, testing each handhold before committing my weight. The framework holds. I descend 5 feet, 10 feet, until I'm level with the swaying hook. Now I just have to reach it. It's swinging about 3 feet away from me, moving in and out. I wait for it to swing close, timing it, and then I reach out and grab. I miss. The hook swings away, and I'm overextended, off balance, holding onto the framework with one hand and straining after the hook with the other. For one terrifying second, I think I'm going to fall, but I catch myself, pull back, reset my grip, try again, wait for the swing, time it better. The hook comes close, I grab, my fingers close on the hook, and I nearly shout with relief. Now comes the really crazy part. I have to attach the safety harness to this hook and then swing across the gap to the office building, Tarzan style, except Tarzan probably never tried this 200 feet up while starving and terrified. I clip the harness's D-ring to the hook, double-checking the connection. It's secure. The hook is designed to hold tons of weight. It'll hold me, probably. I look across the gap at the office building, 25 feet away, maybe 30. The roof is flat, edged with a low wall. If I can swing over there and release at the right moment, I might land on that roof. Might. If I release too early, I fall short and drop 15 stories into the street full of infected. If I release too late, I slam into the building. If I hold on too long, I swing back and potentially crash into the crane boom. The margin for error is razor thin. But it's my only shot. I take a breath, then another. I think about everyone I've lost, everyone who's counting on me to survive, even if they don't know I exist. I think about not wanting to die here, in this dead city, alone and forgotten. And then I jump. I push off from the boom with everything I have, holding onto the hook, my weight suddenly suspended by the cable. The harness straps bite into my shoulders and legs as it takes my full weight. The cable swings, arcing toward the office building, and for a moment I'm flying, the wind rushing past, the ground impossibly far below. The building rushes toward me, too fast. I'm going to hit it hard. I let go. For a fraction of a second, I'm in free fall, nothing but air beneath me. Then I hit the roof, hard, rolling, the breath knocked out of me. I skid across gravel, scraping skin, and fetch up against the low wall at the roof's edge. I'm on the building. I'm alive. I made it. Behind me, the hook swings back toward the crane, empty now, the cable still attached to the trolley. The gap looks impossibly wide from this side. Did I really just cross that? I lie on the roof for a long moment, just breathing, unable to believe I survived. My whole body hurts. I'm scraped and bruised, and my already damaged hands are worse now. But I'm on the building. I'm off the crane. I did it. Now I just have to find food and water and a way back across that gap. Because the crane cabin is still my only real shelter, and I'm going to have to cross that gap again to get back to it. But that's a problem for later. Right now, I need to get inside this building and see if there's anything worth risking my life for. The roof access door is locked. Of course it is. I yank on it, kick it, but it's solid metal, and I'm weak, and it doesn't budge. Fine. Windows it is. I move to the roof's edge and look down. The top floor has windows all around, office windows, many of them intact. I just need to break one and climb through. Simple. Except I'm 15 stories up, and these windows weren't designed to be broken from the outside. I look around the roof for something to use. There's an air conditioning unit, some ductwork, a pile of construction materials someone left up here. In the pile, I find a short length of metal pipe, heavy and solid. Perfect. I lean over the roof's edge, target a window directly below me, and drop the pipe. It falls, accelerating, and hits the window with a satisfying crash. The glass shatters, falling inward, leaving a jagged opening. Now I just have to get down there. The roof wall is about 3 feet high. I could lower myself over the edge, hang from my hands, and drop through the broken window. It's maybe a 10-foot drop, doable if I land right. If I land wrong, I'll impale myself on broken glass or break an ankle, and then I'm done. What choice do I have? I sit on the wall, swing my legs over, and slowly lower myself until I'm hanging by my hands. My arms scream in protest. I've been abusing these muscles for hours now, and they're done. But I hold on, position myself as best I can over the broken window, and let go. I fall through the window opening and hit the office floor inside, glass crunching under me. Pain shoots up my leg. I landed awkwardly, twisting my ankle. But nothing's broken. I'm inside. The office is dark, lit only by the broken window. It's surprisingly intact. Desk, computer, chair, papers is scattered around, like someone just got up and left one day and never came back. Which is probably exactly what happened. I searched the desk drawers looking for food. Nothing. Office supplies, personal items, but no food. Of course not. Who keeps food at their desk? The break room. Office buildings always have break rooms. Usually on lower floors, unfortunately, but there has to be one somewhere. I leave the office, my ankle protesting with each step, and find the stairwell. The building is dark inside, no power, and the stairwell is pitch black. I feel my way down step by step, counting floors. 14, 13, 12. Something moves in the darkness below me. I freeze, listening. There it is again, a shuffling sound echoing up the stairwell. Infected. There are infected in this building. Of course there are. People died here when everything collapsed. Some of them got back up. I back up slowly, trying not to make noise. The shuffling continues, getting closer. Whatever's down there heard me, is coming to investigate. I retreat back up to the 15th floor, back to the office with the broken window. The shuffling follows, echoing in the stairwell. Multiple infected, from the sound of it, climbing the stairs. I'm trapped. Can't go down, can't go back to the roof easily, and infected are coming up. This plan is falling apart faster than I could have imagined. The office. I scan it quickly. There's another door, a closet maybe, or a private office. I try it. Locked. I kick it. The lock breaks easily and the door swings open. It's a storage closet, cleaning supplies, paper goods, and a vending machine. A half-sized vending machine tucked in the corner, probably for executives who wanted snacks without going to the break room. I could cry. I actually feel tears in my eyes. The machine is still stocked. Chips, cookies, candy bars, all behind dusty glass. I don't have money, but I have desperate need. I grab a chair from the office and swing it at the vending machine's glass. It cracks. I swing again. The glass shatters. I'm grabbing snacks as fast as I can, stuffing them into my pockets, into my shirt, anywhere I can hold them. Chips, cookies, a bag of pretzels, candy bars. Real food. More food than I've seen in 3 weeks. The shuffling in the stairwell is getting louder. They're on this floor now. I grab as much as I can carry and head back to the office. The infected are in the hallway. I can hear them. Multiple sets of feet getting closer. I close the office door, lock it. It won't hold them for long, but it might buy me a few minutes. The broken window. That's my only way out. But I can't climb back up to the roof, not with my ankle and exhausted arms and pockets full of snacks. Unless I look at the office, at the desk, at the computer monitor, still sitting there, connected to a power strip that's connected to a wall outlet. The cable. It's not load-bearing cable, but it's something. I rip the power cable out of the wall, then grab every cable I can find. Computer cables, phone chargers, the cord from the desk lamp. I tie them together quickly, making a rope that's maybe 15 feet long. Not enough to reach the ground, but enough to reach the next floor down. The office door shakes. The infected are trying to get in, pushing against it. The lock is starting to give. I tie one end of my makeshift rope to the desk leg, test it. The desk is heavy. It should hold my weight. I hope. I climb out the broken window onto the ledge, holding my cable rope. Below me is a 14-story drop to a street full of infected. If this doesn't work, I'm dead. The office door breaks open. I hear them shambling in, moaning. No time. I lower myself off the ledge, holding the rope, and start climbing down. The cables bite into my gloved hands, but they hold. I descend past the 14th floor windows, heading for the 13th. One of the 13 floor windows is broken, probably from the same chaos that broke windows everywhere else. I swing toward it, get a foot on the ledge, and pull myself inside. I'm in another office similar to the one above. The infected upstairs are at the window now. I can hear them. But they're not smart enough to climb down after me. I'm safe. For the moment. My ankle is throbbing, my hands are worse, my whole body is shaking from adrenaline and exhaustion. But I have food, pockets full of food, enough for days, maybe a week. I allow myself one small victory. I open a bag of chips and eat them, right there on the floor of this dark office. They taste like heaven, salt and oil and carbohydrates, everything my body has been screaming for. I eat the whole bag, then start on a candy bar. Food. Real food. I made it. But now, I have to figure out how to get back to the crane. That gap is still there, and I have no way to cross it from this side. The cable is still hanging from the boom, but it's 30 feet away across empty air. Unless I can signal somehow, get back to the roof, figure out something. Or maybe I don't go back. Maybe I stay here in this building and make this work. There's food here. I found one vending machine. There must be others. There's water in the toilet tanks, probably. I could barricade myself in an office, block the stairwell, survive here instead of the crane. But the crane cabin is defensible. It's isolated, unreachable. This building has infected in it, probably dozens of them. And I saw how quickly they responded to my presence. This building is their territory now. No, I need to get back to the crane. Somehow. I finish the candy bar and take stock. I have maybe 10 bags of chips, a dozen candy bars, some cookies. Enough food for 5 days if I'm careful, a week if I'm very careful. And I need to get it all back across that gap to the crane. First, I need to rest. My body is done, completely spent. I barricade the office door with the desk and some filing cabinets, making it harder for infected to get in. Then, I collapse in the office chair and let myself pass out. When I wake up, it's dark. I must have slept for hours, the exhaustion finally catching up with me. My ankle is swollen, throbbing. My hands are a mess. But I'm alive, and I have food. And that's more than I had this morning. The building is quiet. I can hear distant sounds, shuffling, the occasional moan, but nothing close. The infected have moved to other floors, searching for whatever drew them to the 15th floor. I eat some cookies and think, the gap. How do I cross that gap? The crane's cable is still hanging out there. If I could somehow get back to the roof and reach that cable, I could use it to swing back. But getting to the roof means going up 2 floors through a building full of infected. Or I could go down. All the way down, out of the building, and then... No, that's suicide. The streets are packed with them. I'd never make it. What if I stayed here? Found all the vending machines, collected all the water, barricaded myself on a high floor. I could potentially survive for weeks, maybe longer. But then what? Eventually the supplies would run out. Eventually I'd be in the same situation, starving and desperate, with no crane cabin safety net to retreat to. No, I have to get back. The crane is my best chance at long-term survival. This was a supply run, not a relocation. But how? I sit in the dark office, eating chips and trying to think, watching the stars through the broken window. Somewhere out there, in this dead city, Other people are probably asking themselves the same questions. How do I survive another day? How do I find food? How do I stay ahead of the infected? And some of them are probably succeeding, like that pair I saw doing the coordinated supply run. They figured it out. They made it work. I can too. I have to. Day 19 is over. I survived it barely. Day 20 is beginning, and I'm in a dark office building full of infected, injured, and exhausted, with no clear way back to my crane cabin. But I have food. That's something. That's a victory, even if it doesn't feel like one right now. I'll rest tonight, recover what strength I can, and tomorrow I'll figure out how to get back across that impossible gap. I have to, because the alternative is staying here, and staying here is death, just slower. The crane cabin is safety. It's home, and I'm going to get back to it, somehow.